Good girl in a costume. It's your world, but I'm with you. Forever with you like a tattoo. I paint a picture in a bad mood. She feel the breeze like a parachute. I got cheese, get a pair of shoes. Big body, need a lot of room. She keep calling when I'm never home. I'll be with you, need low key on the east. I can see everything that you went through. I'll be your tool like a fix you. Even if I lose, it be nothing new. She old news to the whole school. It's my rules when I make moves. I make it rain like a monsoon. My new baby come soon. The best side was the best ride. She said that she really wanna come out to the west side. If she coming with me, she can hit me with her best side. She give me my missus, give me kisses on her best side. Low key with me in the night. You want me, but it's never right. Hold me, I'm a low life. You know me, cause I'm on the rise.
Are you happy with the current situation of MMBM after the nerfs going into Season 2, or do you hope of some kind of fast lane changes happening? I mean, I like how MM plays. I'm not... I mean, BM is basically more brain dead than ever, and I find it kind of boring to play BM for the most part, but this kind of BM is what most people want. It's... The one thing that I kind of dislike it for is the thing that I think a lot of its players like it for, so... I recognize I'm in the minority there. So that's my take. Hey Steezinator, what's up? Thoughts on the new Tuborg Sprød? I don't drink beer. Hey Dale, welcome to the stream and good morning to you as well. Nuries, thank you so much for the prime. So how come we don't use Volley in the M+ build and M+ plus now? Simply because it's not... The DPS is just worse. I mean, I agree that Volley was fun, but you also have to consider that to some extent you can't really execute Volley windows the same anymore because you cannot... There's no such thing as back-to-back aim shots, right? Because you need to generate streamline in between. So with that in mind, Volley is just not the same as it was. It's still relatively fun, but I guess what's the best way to show it here? Let's say we're pretty confident about not running that. Why are we taking Wilderness Medicine as MM without a pet? I mean, have you looked at what the talent does? Wilderness Medicine. Natural Mending now reduces the cooldown of acceleration by an additional half second. And then the man pet heals for blah 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 blah. Natural Mending, every 10 focus you spend reduces the remaining cooldown on acceleration by 1 second. But by picking Wilderness Medicine, we essentially buff it by 50%, and it's already a pretty neat talent. So, Wilderness Medicine is now a permanent lock-in talent for all specs. They should make it so Volley gives a haste buff for the duration, or just make it so that during Volley you always have 2 streamline stacks. That wouldn't be terrible. What talent in the class tree would you swap out for Trailblazer if you had to? If we imagine it's like an M+ sort of build, then I would say like Emergency Salve. So the thing about Emergency Salve is that there's not really anything to dispel in the dungeons with it. There's like one dungeon, but it can dispel the affixes, and it really sucks if it's one of those things where you don't need it that often, but if you do need it and you don't have it, it really sucks. So that's why I like to have it locked in as default. But it would be the first one I would move over to Trailblazer. What's the best spec to start M+ season without new tier set? Looks likely to be MM at the moment. Good afternoon here and there, and thank you for the kind words. Anyway, so I just ran a bunch of so here's like 6 target AoE, right? Someone asked about why don't we run Volley. So as you can see, Volley is like really close to the top result. Like the top Volley build is only 0.2% behind the top AoE build. So, you know, it's not terrible to run, but the thing is, it's not just about this. If we look at single target, then we lose close to like over 1% by going volley. And once you sort of, actually no, way more than that, it's 1.6, it's closer to 2%. And once you run all the builds together across single target and AoE, volley is just not near the top. And that doesn't even get into priority target damage, which these sims are not really showing properly. So, yeah. Volley is just not all that hot. And that's why we don't run it. Are the sims available anywhere? I don't like have a place where I post all the sims now. Like, I run the sims, I make the guides based on them, but I don't like... It depends what you mean by the sims. Like, I run literally hundreds of sims for any given patch on each spec. That makes the M+ build way more boring. I don't think it's like a night and day difference in terms of fun whether you run volley or not. I kinda like not running volley. Maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome. Is MM better than BM at the moment? Like right now, yeah, that looks... Yeah, pretty much. It's almost like BM kind of got shafted by the changes without the new tier set. It looks like BM kind of rides a lot on the new tier set for really good power. Which might be a concern if they tune the tier set. Ed, thanks so much for the sub. With this new buffing speeding up of aim shot, I would like if they remove the charges. I mean, sure, that would be a huge buff to MM. Who wouldn't want that? I'm not convinced they would somehow improve the gameplay experience. It would improve the numbers, but there are many ways to improve the numbers. Alright. Silly question, maybe I have not read the guide properly, but do we use Signet of the Priory IF Kazan Delve Trinket for both Raid and Mythic Plus? IF Kazan is not really a good trinket for anything but raiding. So if we look at my guide here, I'm just gonna assume you're asking about BM, but it's roughly the same for all of them. And also, IF Kazan was actually changed in Sims recently, and I have to rerun all of my trinkets. So it may be even worse than it looks. But yeah, I mean, it takes like close to 5 minutes to stack up to full power, so it's really bad for short fights, but it's really good for very long fights. There may be some trickery with staying in combat throughout Mythic Plus to keep it stacked up, but I don't really think that's within the scope of the guide. Yeah. Hi, just wanted to thank you once again for the guides, your PVs, and also for analyzing vlogs and videos on Patreon. I managed to get rank 2 this season, and I think there wasn't much competition in the Survival Hunter segment, but it's still pretty cool. Very good job, and I did see it. And maybe not much volume of competition, but it was the strongest spec towards the end of the raid, so... But yeah. And you can see for the separate Mythic Plus Trinket tier list, Spook Boyo, I have it put at B tier. But once again, this Trinket tier list for... Well, it's accurate in general, but IF Kazan, I need to resim that from scratch. And it might end up lower. I don't think so in terms of S tier, but I think that it might go from B to C tier in the Mythic Plus list. That's my gut feeling. In your opinion, should Raiders be running MM or Survival until we get tier? Looks more like likely to be Survival at the moment. but we'll see from real life data and stuff. Yo, Alchemist Stone, thanks for adding. Yeah, I mean, it's alright. It's a B tier trinket in both single target and Mythic Plus. So if you have nothing else to spend your sparks on and you somehow haven't gotten a higher level 1, it's alright. Thank you for the kind words, Spookboyo and Makai Valley. Also thankful to have 100 expert in the community. Thank you very much for the kind words, everybody. What's best hero talent for MM now? Sentinel, yeah, it's always Sentinel. What ring would you suggest running if you don't have max Signet? I mean, just max out your Signets. There's literally no reason you can't. It just takes... You gotta kill some rares. You just use the catch-up. If you somehow don't want to do that or whatever, then you would just sim the rings that are available to you and use the highest simming ring. Alright. Thanks for all the big brain work. As other classes wish that the levels of insight. Thank you very much for the kind words, All-Star. I'm just running some analyzing the data on the sims in the background. Didn't know you could still do it. I'm like 99% sure you can still do it. Otherwise, some people are getting screwed, and there would be a huge outrage, given how good the Signet is in the new patch. So, yeah, just hit up the Siren Isle, Andrew, and get yourself your Signet. Does anyone have this bug on BM where your pet buys gone, but only for pet slot 1? I think it's just that whenever you change the spec of a pet, there is a bug where its pet bar gets emptied. So it's not gone, it's just there are no buttons on it, and so it appears invisible. But you can't just repopulate it again. I thought new MM would pump in Mythic Plus, then I had a Chamois and Palama group and it was what? Yeah. I mean, yeah. MM pumps in Mythic Plus relative to Hunter specs. I also can't turn off Taunt on my BM pets. Yeah, that is a known bug that I've heard a lot of people mention, so... So until we get 2-piece in Raid, should we run Survival or just persevere with BM? I would say the numbers point to Survival right now. Yeah. But it depends on the character as well. You may have much better MM gear than Survival gear or whatever. Okay, according to my analysis, combo 1941 is the strongest one. So let's see what this is. It's nice that MM and Survival kind of had the same gear with Crit Mastery. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, Survival is more like Mastery above all and then Crit. Whereas MM is Crit above all and then Mastery. Is it worth in True Shot to prioritize Aim Shot over Precise Shots when you have 2 Streamline? Not 2 Streamline, so basically the answer is no. It doesn't come down to Streamline, it actually comes down to whether you have a Spotter's Mark proc or a moving target proc. So I'm gonna bring up, because I've been working on some guide updates to address this exact thing, but I haven't uploaded them yet. So here it is. Use Aim Shot whenever it is available. Most of the time, you will want to spend your Precise Shot stacks first, but if you have a Spotter's Mark proc, which is what you get from Arcane, and a moving target proc, which is basically just what you get for spending Precise Shots, Meaning you've already essentially what this breaks down to is if your first arcane after aim shot gave you a spotter's mark proc, then we do not care, then we just send the next aim shot immediately. Thus, it's actually more about spotter's mark and moving target proc economy than it is about streamline. So yeah, this will obviously be way more readable once it makes it onto the website. So yeah. Interesting. So if my numbers are... Let me just bring up the thing. Is there a WeakAuras to know if you have a spotter's mark procs? I will build that into my WeakAuras pack today. I'll basically... Because now the spec actually got a step more complicated with aim shot and arcane shot considerations. So I'm going to update my UI to make that as easy to play around as possible. That's correct, Kate, but they almost always come together because the only way to get Spotter's Mark is to spend precise shots. And that's also how we get moving target. So it's almost impossible, I'm sure there's some way, but it's virtually impossible to have... You cannot have Spotter's Mark without moving target, but you can have moving target without Spotter's Mark. Because moving target is guaranteed, and Spotter's Mark is a whatever the proc chance is, 30%. Interesting. It looks like the new we will actually be grabbing Volley now. Do you suspect MM will remain stronger than BM at optimal gear T and raid? I mean, I don't care or no. I said, yeah, I just don't care, but it's also just that I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I don't care. Because I could find out. At least I could find out what the Sims say about the subject now. But like, you know, just this morning or yesterday, we found out that MM was over-simming with the new tier set. And every day, like, there's almost certainly something else wrong with the Sims that we just don't know about yet. So I'd rather just wait until the last possible moment when hopefully as many Sim bugs as possible have been caught to run all the numbers. Like, confidence in Sims goes up over time, and yeah. Volley doesn't look different. Essentially, the APL changed. The APL changed around the precision detonation gameplay, and essentially just makes magnetic gunpowder way less valuable. And so that has been moved over to target acquisition again. And yeah, other change. I mean, it's still. It's basically between Small Game Hunter and Volley. They're close to equal. But I know that Volley is way nicer to play with, so that's why I'm gonna put that in my guides. Because now that like small game hunter has obviously lost value if we're not leaning into precision detonation as much as before, with the extra explosive shot damage. So yeah, this will be the new recommendation for Mythic Plus. So that will make it into the guide. That was the one thing I needed to run. Then I need to update the rotation on Wowhead as well. So actually, I should change the openness on Icy-Veins first. So hey Anders, your question was just 4M plus question mark, but I need more context to your question. Right. Opener. Precast aim shot, that's fine. This line is fine. This is fine. Talents up to date. Technically no. I mean, I just updated them, but I haven't pushed it to live. I guess I can do that real quick. But there's still more changes coming. Yeah, I don't want to push it live right now because I'm still mid changes. Okay, that's fair enough, Anders. Let me see if I can simplify this a little bit for myself. Oops. Oh, I forgot to turn my cam on. There we go. Okay, DIST opener. What's your favorite Hunter spec iteration and why is it MM in Legion? My memory kinda sucks, but yeah, I tend to go with MM in Legion. I saw everyone rank MM at the bottom, but as the Hunter main himself, what do you think? I mean, I haven't run the numbers for the season yet. I mean, clearly right now it's not at the bottom, but the new tier set for MM is not that hot. And the sims are kind of mediocre for MM in the new season, so at least single target, I think the AoE is still quite good. So we'll see. I am comfortable not knowing and not speculating until we have better information. Legion MM didn't have instant aim shot. That was way back in Warlords of Draenor. Can you show your in-game graphics options when you have... I mean, yeah. I mean, they're not even high. Kind of a mix of settings. Unless I'm running that. Yeah. Optimized kind of settings. Have you guys fooled around with the drive system at all? Like, I've been, I did all the races on gold yesterday and I actually had quite a bit of fun with it. It's fun once you get used to it. But you have to, like, grind renown just to get the tires that make you drift more easily. Kinda sucks. But yeah, it's pretty addictive. Should I bother learning how to drive with right-click mouse aiming? Or I think a mix of both is best. Like when you're not intending to drift, you can right-click. That's clearly faster. But then you need to make it muscle memory to let go of the right-click when you want to drift. It seems like turn speed is kept when right. I mean, is it kept worse than just keyboard turning? Maybe I'm wrong. Oh yeah, here's a actually total you know, here's something you can do. If you You know how we've been talking about using Feathermane and Pterodax pets for slow fall? Or like longer disengages like this? Well, the slow fall affects the car. And it's like a permanent buff that lasts quite a long time. So if you can, you know, find a ledge to drive off of, then you can fly for quite some distance. Well, if I can actually find a goddamn jump. And I gotta reapply it. Where's the jump? Someone find me a ledge to drive off of. I want to show this. Like that. Like, just then. Because the main thing that will fuck you over here is hitting like various terrain bullshit, right? So if you just activate that and then you go for a drive, you can have some pretty goofy stuff happen. Ah. Like this. Like that was pretty nifty. Anyway, Babsicky, thank you for the sub. For BM, do I need to overthink pet selection or it's pretty standard? I mean, I don't even know what it's pretty standard means. There are some pets that are better than others, and that's probably worth pursuing, or at least having the option. I made a dedicated hunter pet guide that's up on my YouTube channel that I recommend you check out. Right, I distracted myself. Can you tell Blizzard to give all pets 30% movement speed default so I don't need to play Akiri-only pets? If only I had a direct line to John Blizzard, then I would tell him many things. Hey Giltamir, I would also like a crit buff. Paper G. Love the beat, my friend, and also thanks for all your hard work with us for Common Folk Leech upon. Thank you for the kind words, Lecter Bean. Oh, one sec. I'm just previewing the rotation tool, making sure I've updated it correctly and it all looks correct, but a little bit of technical stuff on the back end. Do you think survival needs a buff? I think it's a bit early to be talking about buffs and nerfs when the season isn't out yet and we don't have hard data on how they perform. Glockwork, thank you for the prime. Can we do a watch together with the Pokemon stream? Maybe. We'll see. Let me just fetch my water real quick. What the hell, just like the Mahunter, I used to do like 3 mil sustain on dummies and now with no idea what I'm doing like 4 to 5 mil. I mean, a lot of that is probably just the fact that, assume you're talking about MM, the dummies are being heavily used right now and they're always in execute range, so when you're hitting the dummies as MM, you have like permanent 30 stacks of bullseye, which is 30% crit, and that's probably most of the reason why your damage is so much higher. Most of it, not all. Any updates coming to MM in this guide or just small fixes? Quite a significant update. So Jay just found a bunch of APL improvements yesterday concerning like how you play around the aim shot. So that has been complicated a bit. And explosive shot you now only cast when you have the 4-piece set bonus. Well, okay, with the set bonus you only cast it when you have a lock and load proc. And if you don't have the set bonus, then you just use it as a very low prio filler. So yeah, actually pretty substantial changes, and that's what I'm sort of bug fixing right now. Making sure it all works. I'll push it during the stream. It's not... I've already did a lot of work before the stream began this morning, so I'm just putting finishing touches. And then I also have to do all the changes here. I have to redo on Wowhead with the different rotation system. What hero talents do you prefer on MM? I mean, Sentinel is clearly the best one, but I think Dark Ranger is more interesting. Are you going to have to update the MM WeakAuras as well? Yeah. Yeah, because this is kind of a lot. It adds quite a bit of cognitive load to optimal play if you're just playing Natty, but I think with WeakAuras I can make it straightforward. No more Volley and Salvo for MM Mythic Plus. No, but Volley, yes. But not Salvo. That's another change that's coming as a result of this. Bodach G, thank you for the sub. For those testing, how much is being behind at the moment for AoE? I haven't rerun the number. Well, it shouldn't really matter that much. Like 30%. Will there be a last set of tunings before season starts? I'd say that's very unlikely. Does BM scale really well with the new tier set and gear? Yes. I mean, nothing seems well compared to enhancement. Bodachji, holy crap, thank you so much for gifting 5 subs. And Fredris, thank you for gifting subbing at the tier 2 for 3 months in advance. That's extremely kind of you, thank you so much. And grats to Nyawi, Kilo Eagle, Bolsack. Yeah, that's the name. Bulla Manchula and Yonkathu. And congrats on the subs. Can you show build MM Mythic Plus? The Icy-Veins one. Well, the updated Icy-Veins one that will be uploaded later looks like this. Wait, I'm not showing it. Don't yell at me. There you go. Is BM still miles ahead of MM for M+? I haven't seen much evidence that it ever was, but we'll see. I've not run my numbers for Season 2 yet. I think something like that looks plausible, yeah, Melvin. Vo, thanks so much for the sub. Thank you very much for that, Fredris. Is it really just swapping small game for Volley? Yeah. I spent like half an hour rerunning everything, crossing my eyes and... Wait, no. Dotting my I's and crossing my T's, and all I found out is that it's... And it's not... It's barely better. It's like minor, completely microscopic to move the small game hunter over. No, but I think it's also magnetic gunpowder being moved over to target acquisition. I think the live guide... Yeah, it's more than just that. It's all... Yeah, it's actually... Wait. Never mind, this is a single target build. I'm stupid. But it is also the magnetic gunpowder. That's because I'm still in the process of updating Icy-Veins. Isomorph. But basically, a single target is like this now. So we no precision detonation, single target, and no magnetic gunpowder. Those are going into target acquisition and what's the other thing that changed? I believe into rhythm. So yeah, that's where we're at. Is Dark Ranger going to be the pure single target spec as last patch? No, Dark Ranger is dead and useless. Do you think Dark Ranger will see any buffs before season starts? Before season starts? No, I don't think so. I lost my train of thought. Booty 75, thank you so much for the prime. Enjoy the UI and everything else. Why exactly is DR declared so dead? Because it doesn't do any damage. Can you show the UI behind all those chats? Tabs? Sure. Survival. MM. And BM coming up. Thank you very much, Caps. I can't connect my beard, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's the UI. It's extremely tight, but it's not just tight, it's functional. It has every little min-max you need. Emperor Sui, thank you so much for the prime. For example, the reason that Rapid Fire is glowing blue is because it can trigger Lunar Storm, which lifts its priority from like middle of the pack to like top priority. The reason that Explosive Shot is glowing is because I'm talented into precision detonation and it wants me to do the Explosive Shot into aim shot combo. Now that is actually something I need to change because we just learned that a different way of playing is better. But you know, I'll program that into the WeakAuras as well. There's UI installation instructions in my Discord, Nocera, but I intend to make a video, like maybe a little bit after season launches, that is sort of a guide to everything on it. Is there a way to get only the WeakAuras? I mean, yeah, everything, like, when you install the UI via this, you just pick what you want. Like, I want the LVI profile, hit that. I want Omni CD, I want blah blah blah. Here are all my WeakAuras that you get with my pack, and you just select only the UI WeakAuras Hunter pack, and you're done. If you don't want any of the other stuff, you don't need to. So it's pick your own, it's a buffet of UI elements. Welcome back to Retail, LJ. Glad you could join us. Is PL still outperforming DR after the nerfs that are implemented a couple hours before patch release? Yes. I mean, PL is... I mean, BM in general is just not good right now on without tier sets and all that, so... That is roughly expected your experience there, Orel. Yeah, this bow mark is one of the only good ones in the game, in my opinion. My Soul Heart, thank you so much for your 26th month of Prime subbing. Appreciate the loyalty. Hunter doesn't need Volley now. It's not really a big deal to pick. I'm in the process of updating the guides and the Mythic Plus build will now pick it. Do you do Wowhead as well? I do Wowhead as well for only. Yukimaru's finger... Well, hello. Sorry, I don't know if I connected your name to the subbage, but you already subbed. So, but hello, and welcome to the chat. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep lately, guys. Sorry. How would you most simply explain the way that the gameplay loop for changed with 11.1? In the most simple terms, you will always cast at least one arcane / multi-shot between every single aim shot. Nearly always, at least, particularly during cooldowns. I'd say that's the main one. Many thanks, man. My old WeakAuras pack was ripped for 11.1 and you saved me a ton of work. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much for that, and I'm glad you find it useful. How likely do you think that one can get 4-piece tier? I think that given enough time, it'll be... I mean, week 1? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. Probably not that likely for most people. BM or for this first week's for raid? Depends on the gear you enter the raid with, I imagine. And the character, and depends on many things. It's best to just sim your single target in both specs and seeing what comes out higher when you're about to step into the raid. That's what I would do. In fact, that is exactly what I'm going to do. How much haste we should get for BM? There's no such thing. Like, the premise of the question is flawed, because there's no such thing as... There's nothing magical about haste. It's just a stat. It's a good stat, but there's no particular amount that's better than any other. I mean, other than higher is better. Crit and haste are both the top stats for BM, and they're essentially equal, so... I mean, if you can trade crit for haste, it's kind of neutral, because they're so close to each other. It's just going to depend on the character. But if you can turn any other stat into crit or haste, that's a good thing. How come agility is so low prior on Hunter? I think Hunter just has a lot of... Hunter has generally good secondary stat scaling. There's a lot of things that scale off crit in the kit. All the masteries are fairly well tuned. Haste is pretty well tuned. Except for except for anything Sentinel, I suppose. Sentinel has very bad haste scaling. What's the optimal way to use explosive shot? Very low prio on cooldown. And with the tier set, you only use it when you have a lock and load proc. So when you get a lock and load proc, you always go explosive shot into lock and load. There's very little reason to use explosive shot as BM. There are some scenarios where it's worth pressing, but they're like, yeah, close to non-existent. You did put the other neck in best and slot, but there's Raid BOE neck, which is crit mastery. Is it higher crit? It is tangentially related, Duffy, but it's not the same question. Why did they pick it again? I mean, this... You could forego it entirely and not have the button at all for a little bit of extra utility, but I think having it for like... When you see that some burst is coming up in like 3 seconds and you can pre-pop it, it's kind of potent for that. Burst AoE. Same like kill shot for Sentinel MM. Yeah, that's also... Well, I mean, a single target, it's very valuable. Is 0.5333 correct? It is. If you're on like a small monitor, like 24 inches or lower, it can be a bit too small. You can experiment with putting a higher UI scale, like 0.71, repeating. But you'll have to readjust things a bit manually. That is exactly correct, Duffy. Biz lists are pretty much worthless, but they are good SEO, so we are required to make them for our guides. Glad you enjoyed, Fredris. Do make sure to grab the update that's coming later today, though. What's your resolution you run at? I'm playing on 4K, but I'm playing with the 1440p UI scale. Like, the UI was made on 27-inch 1440p. But I happen to be playing on 4K to 32-inch right now. Okay, that's good to know, Ion. I will update the biz list with that right away. What's it called? No one has simmed it yet, Fever, so nobody knows. Paisley Rare, welcome to the stream. I'm trying to find the name of this BOE. BOE. There it is. Undermine, Mercs, Dog Tags. Hayan, sorry, I-A-I-N, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Is it just Jan? Ian? Right. Wait, members. Oh, fair. I didn't know you were black and white. It doesn't say on your YouTube thing. Did you take out the raidability timeline from your pack? Shouldn't have. It appears that I have, but it'll be in the next update. I know that, Doomforger, but it's turned off. Has anyone played around with improved streamline versus focused aim? They perform very similarly to each other, but improved streamline is simming better in pretty much all scenarios. Let me see if it's loaded for you, then... Thing is, I haven't actually done any raid content lately. Totally distant. I mean, I think I removed it from the pack, but you probably still have it from a previous time where it was in there. That's my best guess. Hey Stalaga, what's up? I just switched to PMPL and plus the damage feels very bad. Definitely not A tier like in everyone's tier lists. I mean, the tier lists have nothing to do with live servers right now, so... Not that, I mean, that's not in defense of tier lists. They're kind of worthless, but... I mean, no one was making tier lists for the first week of the patch before the season. I have to ask Jay something. What do you think about BM and MM parts? What do you mean by parts exactly? How can you ever get Spotter's Mark without getting moving target? Isn't this a redundant check? BM1 is strong, MM1 is not so strong, Gaspard. We'll see, I will eat you up.
Don't you think the shit's getting too real? Don't you know the terms of your own deal? Don't you think we both need to...
Hey Xenophane, I mean, I don't even know what spec we're going to play. And I certainly don't know how every other spec in the game that isn't Hunter stacks up, so I just don't have anywhere near the requisite information to to engage with that question. I mean, anything movement heavy is obviously gonna suit BM. Most of the fights are quite movement heavy, but that's about as sophisticated as an answer that I have right now. Yuji Katame, thank you so much for the sub. Just heard Volley maybe making a comeback. I mean, yeah, it's 0.2% better-ish to play Volley. But apparently it's a big mental boost, so that's fine. Is it really bad to keep your pet as a MM? Let's find out with the latest numbers. How bad is it? Oops. So pure single target, let's start with that. On single target, you're losing 3.5%. On AoE, that number is gonna be much, much larger. Let's find out. Sorry, I got distracted by a thought. Will magnetic gunpowder maybe come back after getting new 4-piece? Not expected, no. On AoE, the loss is around 5%. So you're probably losing, depending on the content, 4 to 5% DPS by using a pet as MM. It says to me that I can't use pet anymore as MM Hunter. That's because you've spec'd into the thing that says... Well, you haven't spec'd into the thing that allows you to summon your pet. This talent right here. It's a talent, yes. In your opinion, which specs feels better to play right now? I mean, on AoE, I think MM is quite fun. Single target MM is pretty miserable. I honestly think single target, all 3 specs feel kind of miserable. Although my BM build doesn't have that much haste. I feel like with higher haste, BM will feel a bit better. Just don't listen to the meme people, Lamau. /S. Yurash, thank you so much for the prime. See, WTF, thank you so much for the prime. I enjoyed MM single target tonight, but I can see it getting boring. Yeah. Hey Payo, I'm looking forward to Wednesday for me, unfortunately, but yeah. So different. Does Icy-Veins have some sort of domain-specific language that allows you to specify in-game items, abilities, and a link that shows the tooltip? I'm talking about the... yes. So every single tag, ability, everything in the game is coded like this. That keys to a particular wowhead URL. And every icon is manually pulled, and it's quite something. Is Undermine still buggy for you guys? I mean, depends what you mean. And yeah, we love Bill words. Why not play Volley and Salvo? The question, I mean, why would we play anything if there's no evidence that it's good? Do we know if there'll be easily craftable conquest gear like there was start of season 1? I have no idea. What's the numbers of Bulletstorm talents being better? What do you mean exactly? I mean... I can run that for you if you'd like. Let's see here. Let me just grab the build. But you notice how, like, you just put the burden of proof on me, but you're the one saying that this one is clearly better. Let me just... Oh, what's the best way of doing this? Here's what we can do. I don't know which of the C's in your name are K sounds, but thank you so much for the prime. Anyone know if you can skip the campaign quests on alts? No. Not to my knowledge. At least you couldn't the other day. Okay, so to grab Salvo by dropping incendiary ammunition. If they fixed it, then please ignore, and I'm just a stupid misinforming person. You can drop one of the Bulletstorm talents for Salvo for a 0.6% single target loss and a 6% AoE loss. Warrior Main here, just dropping by to say hello. Welcome to the stream, Baseface. Glad you could tune in. Without Volley, wouldn't MM be too weak for 2-target cleave? I mean, MM is already too weak for 2-target cleave whether you run Volley or not. It's kind of its big weakness. How much does your old tiny pal sim above a crafted weapon? You can take a look at that real quick. But I mean, most weapons. But let's say, what is it? 675. Is it going to be another BM tier? We'll see. I was asking because for Warrior, crafted is pretty close to a special weapon. Well, let's see. Did that talent on the node with trick shots change much for MM2 target? I mean, yeah, but you'll never run it unless it's a pure 2-target situation, which almost I don't think exists at all in the new season. Yeah, so it's around 1.8% better than a crafted weapon. But most of that is going to be the eye level. Because as you can see, the Tiny Pal effect itself is like a 0.9%, actually not. So half the gap is eye level, half the gap is the cantrip effect. Dark Ranger is dead for BM and MM, yeah. Where are you gonna get your Dinas from, Maverick? That's what I want to know. How far behind is Dark Ranger for MM? It's been a few days since I checked, but it's like close to double-digit percentages. What's the best time to use Explosive Shot? It depends on many factors, including what talents you're playing and whether you have the 4-piece set bonus from the Neo tier and so on. The guide will contain all the nuances of each depending on the checkboxes you select. Do you know any WeakAuras tracker for Howl of the Pack Leader? I mean, there's one in my UI pack that I made. I don't know of any other ones. I suspect they exist, I just haven't checked because I just make my own. Do you feel the skill ceiling for Hunter as a whole was raised with 11.1? For MM, maybe a bit. For the other specs, no. We'll see, Chaos Morgan. I think we have sorted Icy-Veins. I do want to rerun the talents again. Just to sanity check myself. But let's give it one last commit and then see if everything on Icy-Veins is set up right. Hey Nonnymouse, welcome to the stream. Doing pretty well. Just hanging out. Alright, so I'll have to rerun numbers for Dark Ranger as well. In Raid, is BM the best spec to go? Right now, no. In Season 1, nobody knows. Or Season 2, sorry. Okay. I want to rerun the AoE talents to make sure I did it all right. Because I'm a little bit suspicious of something. You too, Fike DST. I'll rerun all the numbers by the end of the week. Should have asked if you always want to pop explosive with aimed. If we're running precision detonation, yes, but the thing is, if you're running precision detonation and you have the 4-piece, then it's only worth using explosive shot when you have a lock and load proc on your aim shot. How are the specs looking? How good are the MM changes? The MM changes are numerically beneficial in terms of how it feels. Opinions are divided on that. But yeah, I haven't run all the numbers for Season 2 yet. I'm saving it for the last moment when I know Sims will be as good as they'll ever be. Divided is one way to say it. Well, I happen to really enjoy the AoE aspect. And, you know, lock and load procs mattering a lot. Especially with how you play around the tier set now with explosive shot. I like that. But when I start single target, I get very sad. So even internally, I am divided. Don't go. Am I? Sad because SD rotation is boring. It's quite boring, and also MM doesn't like haste, so it ends up being very slow. Wow, so angry. I'm not angry. How did I give the indication I was angry? Okay, I can't play without hate. Yeah, okay, get it now. I agree with that as well, Barry Guy. Resting angry voice. I mean, yeah. I've been told I have a bitchy concentration face, so... Angry and listening to that song. Good taste in music, fellow Hunter. Thank you very much, Sendos. Well, you say I'm monotone, but actually I turned on mic monitoring on my audio interface so I can hear myself a little bit when I speak, which I think has changed how I speak quite a bit. Because I'm no longer trying to speak so loud that I can hear myself over the music I'm listening to. But also, it's tiring me out way less to stream and talk. Because I'm speaking in my normal speaking voice, which is this one. Instead of speaking way up here, my voice a little bit. But it also means that I'm hearing my voice permanently. And everyone knows how fun that is. I'm a recording engineer, my headphone volume is a huge tool to get someone to speak differently, yeah. Have you seen any issues with Master's Call? Yeah, it's not working for a lot of people. I feel survival and plus rotation is very boring and single target. Yeah, 100%. But it also was before in my opinion, so... it certainly is boring, but it didn't get much more boring. It just always was boring. Hey Domi Mola. BM is looking okay in Season 2 most likely. I'd hate to hear my own voice all the time. Yeah, but as a content creator you just end up doing so. So it is what it is. I sound like a man and I'm not. Oh well. I'm sorry. Hey Looney Storm, hope you're doing well. If you have the WeakAuras that tracks what's the next bean spawn with pack leader. I mean, no. What would be the value of such a WeakAuras given that you can do nothing about it or change it or play around it in any way? I mean, such a WeakAuras would be very easy to make, but I see no reason to. I think it's worthless. Would it be better if you were Norwegian? I mean, the Norwegian accent when speaking in English is... maybe an upgrade. Is it normal to new MM during tiers when to use steady shot? Yeah, that is something that can happen. Didn't catch where you're from. I'm from Denmark. And we just apparently passed legislation to ban smartphones for like kids in schools. So I think Denmark is making W's right now. Just complete tangent. Spirit Beast is not best for BM anymore. No, I don't think. I mean, no. It's basically the answer to that. Do you think there will be tuning this week pre-season 2 launch? I doubt it, because like what would they base that tuning on? There's like no content out there. Unfortunately, Nonny Mouse, we are only the second happiest country in the world. Somehow, the Finns are happier. As it is right now, you playing BM, MM or Survival in N Plus this season. Well, the thing is, the season is now, Jet. So how can I be playing something as it is right now? If the season were to launch tomorrow, then I would have already run the sims that would inform my decision. But since the season isn't launching tomorrow, I haven't run those sims. So the answer is, I don't know. They tune based on how fast I killed that rare. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. You don't have a heavy Danish accent is what I mean. No. You know, if I really wanted to, my Danish accent could certainly be a lot worse. You know, it takes quite a bit of mental and physical effort to sort of hide it away. But, you know, I try my best not to. Sounds like Acer from 2017. Yeah, maybe. My playlist is here. I think that with the kill command we can extend the duration of the Wyvern. I mean, yes, that's true, but like, what are you gonna change now that you know the Wyvern is out? Kill command is still your top priority, right? What's looking strongest from Pleasant Raid this season? We'll see. I haven't run the numbers yet. Vodka makes you happier than beer, I guess. Yeah, possibly. Right. Is Volley not undertuned if it isn't being taken in Mythic Plus? Right now I'm running all my, like I'm rerunning my numbers like multiple times just to make sure that I'm not like fucking trolling about not putting Volley in the build. I want Volley to be in the build, but I have to go where the numbers take me, right? It's all good, FW Rasakas. My logic is always just, if a weak or a piece of information in your UI never changes how you actually make decisions, then there's no point having it. Yes, Clockwork, I will do that. Do you shot Gammeldansk as a pre-pot when you raid? I don't really drink that much. And when I do, because I hate alcohol or the taste of it, so I just do straight liquor to get it over with quickly, and yeah. I derive no pleasure from the drinking act itself. How do we end up talking about that? Anyway.
Victoria wound is all.
Are your macros included in the UI pack? No. Well, I might make my macros available via a string, a myslot string as it's called. But like not right now, because I haven't even sorted out my macros myself yet. And also I don't really use anything special. But then, you know, that doesn't stop people wanting it. We gotta shrink these iterations somehow. Break chain. Is it really unfortunate, Dotamil? Like, really think about it. Like, there are only 3 meta slots in the plus meta, and there are, I don't know how many DPS specs. A lot more than 3. So if your spec is not in the meta, is that really unfortunate, or is it actually statistically extremely likely? Like, let's just assume that all specs are equally likely to be in the meta, to be the top DPS spec. Is it really unfortunate that yours isn't? Or is that just completely in line with statistical expectations? What spec should I go? I'm kind of new in retail. As I said, I'm not doing raids, mythics. I'm farming and doing world quests and farming mounts. I mean, BM was literally made for you. Just play BM. End of answer. Meta doesn't actually matter for keys up to 15, 16. Yes, it does. Just not for the reason that some people pretend. It matters because to get into those keys, you have to be invited to groups. Not because you need the meta specs to do them. Although it's easier with meta specs. Like, the whole fact that people are making a big deal of it is what makes it an objectively big deal. You know, like, money. You know, pieces of paper don't actually have much real value. But we pretend like we make such a big deal of money, and then it actually becomes a big deal. My opinion is not about the statistics, I'm about enjoying the game and gameplay of the spec. I mean, the word unfortunate has a meaning. Like, you can't have an opinion about the meaning of the word unfortunate. Don't know if you can even answer this yet. Do you think Dark Ranger will be surpassing Pack Leader later in the patch? Without changes? No. If everything stays exactly as it is... yeah, no is the answer. Is the reasoning behind the pet order explained somewhere in the guide, or can you explain it real quick? Okay, I'm gonna do a lightning explanation. Do you ever press explosive shot as BM? Alright, I'm gonna do this at a modest pace, so pay attention. Sit down, friends. Grab a drink. Why do we... The question is, why do we put our pets in a certain order in our call pets when we play BM? If you're not interested in BM, then you can just tune out for 2 minutes. Okay, Ironized. Let me just get my stables out first of all. I can't believe this zone is still lagging so much. And I can't believe I summoned a mailbox when I spent stupid money buying the mailbox mount. Okay. When we use Call of the Wild, we summon the first 2 pets in our call pet slots that are not currently summoned. It says you're summoning 2 of your active pets. It will always choose from left to right or from 1 to 5. So, if you have pet 1 summoned, it's going to summon 2 and 3. If you have pet 1 summoned, pet 2 summoned, it's going to summon 1 and 3. If you have pet 3 summoned, it's going to summon 1 and 2, and the same goes for 4 and 5. So, we always want to have a tenacity and cunning pet out at minimum when we use Call of the Wild. If we're already playing with a tenacity pet, then as long as we have a cunning pet, like, so if I have this tenacity Akiri summoned, then my Call of the Wild is going to summon the other 2 pet specs, which in this case is cunning and ferocity. If I currently have the cunning pet out, it's going to summon the tenacity and ferocity, so the specs I'm not currently playing for pets. And if I got my ferocity pet out, it's going to summon tenacity and cunning. So by putting 3 different pet specs in the first 3 slots, we ensure that no matter what, we always end up with the right pet specs. Yeah, does that basically explain it? Let me know. What hidden tech has you as Maghaog? There's no hidden tech. If you sim it for yourself and you're playing MM or survival, you'll find that it poly sims the highest. Nothing secret about it. Anyone can sim it. Came in mid-tech. Can you repeat fast? All you really need to know is that you want your first 3 pets of your call pet slots to be in the order of tenacity, cunning, ferocity. Tenacity, cunning, ferocity, in that order. And then you're good. That's all. I explain it in my pet guide video as well. On the YouTubes. But why? Because it ensures that you're always summoning the ideal pet specs with your Call of the Wild. Because when, like Call of the Wild summons active pets. When those pets are summoned, you gain their passive spec abilities for the duration of Call of the Wild. And who wouldn't want, you know, an extra 5% max health when during Call of the Wild? If you had like, you know, ferocity in your whole, all your active pets were ferocity, let's say, then we would never be able to then we would only ever summon ferocity pets with our Call of the Wild, and we would miss out on tenacity and stuff. This stats you have now is for the BM Hunter. I mean, I haven't optimized my BM setup at all. Only my MM setup is really optimized. Why does the order of the 3 matter? Because there's situations where, let's say you have ferocity first, and you have, I mean, this is where it gets complicated and like I'm not so good at articulating it. Basically, let's say you had I'm gonna bring up Notepad just to organize my own thoughts about it better. Okay, so let's say we had can you see this clearly? You can't. This ended up not being a very short explanation. Okay, it's not about damage at all. Kitty Cat Chesto, thank you for the sub. Can I make my Notepad++ be dark mode real quick? That would be nice. Style configurator. There we go. Let's say we have something like this. Polynormal setup. By the way, Kitty Cat Chesto, thank you for the sub. I forgot to mention. So if you have called pet 1 summoned, summon, cunning plus ferocity, we have all 3 pet specs satisfied. Okay, so it's not that it matters as long as you have any of your first 3 pets summoned. The order also matters because it's about what if you're not using one of the first 4 pets. Pet 4 summoned. And let's say it's just like it could be any pet spec. And you have pet 4 summoned. Then you're going to summon Tenacity and Cunning. Pet 5 summoned, Tenacity, Cunning, good. If you have it in the different order, like here, then you're gonna summon Tenacity and Ferocity, which is bad. This is basically it. Took way more effort to explain than it should have. But this is why. Any luck on items from weekly quests? No. I saw a video today that say Akiri does a small amount of extra damage, which sounds strange. I mean, it was probably a YouTuber who doesn't actually have any idea what they're talking about, just paraphrasing vaguely. Oh yeah. This has been entertaining and informative, perfect YouTube. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. So yeah, these edge cases are why we do it in the particular order. It won't come up that often, but it'll come up a non-zero amount.
for little hotshot flew his plane and saved the day. And in the end, some Gungans died, some ships blew up,
Anyway.
some pilots fried, a lot of folks were broken, the battle droids were broken.
Does it matter which pet we have out? Yes, it does. I mean, that matters in the same way that it's always mattered. Who the hell summons pet 4 and 5? Well, what if the Akiri is worthless on a fight to Meebo and you want a Feathermane pet for longer, faster disengages? Then, which I imagine is actually gonna come up quite a bit. That's just an example. Anyway, back to Talon Sims. Did we lose Fortitude of the Bear as MM? Unless you run a pet at a huge DPS loss, yes. But you gain 3% passive DR. Hey Kiba, what's up? Someday later, now he's just a small fry. And he left his home and pushed his mommy goodbye, singing soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Yeah, exactly, Spazzy Panda. I need to filter down these talent combos.
There is danger ahead, but do not be afraid.
Interesting song. Yeah, my Spotify playlist is insanely bipolar. Oh, this song owns though.
Oh, I wish I was the sparrow in your kid's side that could fly above his summer all day long on an island in the heart he has to carry.
MM goaded for raid or dodge? We'll see. Samuel G, thank you so much for the sub. Yeah, Spirit Beasts can now be Ferocity freely. It's just that Spirit Beast, the heal is close to worthless, so we'd rather have the Akiri movement speed. But the problem before was that Akiri was cunning, and cunning was not that useful generally. But now Akiri can be anything, so you just run Akiri for everything. Almost everything. Tyazor, why my Karok? Is it simming better for all classes? No, but it seems better for the classes that I've been playing for the last 6 months. Just to make sure, the pet out will be tenacity afford. I mean, the pet out can be anything. But by having the first 3 pets in the order that I've specified, you will never get screwed. 4th and 5th don't matter, that's correct. Oh my lord, why am I not strong? Thanks a lot for guys, man. You helped me a lot as a new hunter. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you're tuning into the stream. Survival and MM, Lucas. At least it was last patch. Me. Yes, Whiskey Tricks, but having a Ferocity pet summoned is basically worthless anyway. We only care about always having a Tenacity and Cunning pet out. So if it's double Tenacity and 1 Cunning, that's fine. If it's double Cunning and 1 Tenacity, that's fine. Why is Survival better than BM now? I mean, because BM Survival got, I mean, the premise of the question, I mean, it just is, I guess. Like, the changes were better for Survival than they were for BM without tier sets. How good are you at driving? I mean, I did all the gold ones, so I'm okay. I'm actually like, I'm really good at racing games, y'all. Like Forza and stuff. I'm not saying that necessarily translates to the drive system. So we don't want a ferocity pet summoned ever. You do sometimes want it for Bloodlust, but you don't want Call of the Wild to summon a ferocity pet. Unless you already have the other two covered. So the tier set is what makes BM so strong right now? Yes, it is. Do you use SUF? Mine is not working. No, I use LVI. You should wear glasses like Singus. I mean, I do wear glasses, but I don't really need them for my PC. It's more for going out and stuff. When you get changes that will definitely affect a rotation prior list, what's the process like to determine what the new rotation prior list will be? Trial and error, essentially. It's mostly trying the stuff in Simcraft, like changing the APL, seeing if you get DPS increases. Like here, for example, this is one I ran yesterday. And it's basically just, okay, well, because people were asking me, like, should we really prioritize spending Arcane Shot if we already have two Precise Shot stacks and Aim Shot is about to charge cap? And I was like, well, that's kind of a, you know, a fair point. Like, is that really worth it? And the answer is, it doesn't really matter, at least in this build. But in the AoE build, it actually is a DPS increase to forego the Arcane Shot. That's just an example. We actually ended up with a different solution than this. That was Jay who found that out, and that's what I'm implementing in the guides today. Have APL writers not tried to use machine learning techniques to optimize rotations? Yes, there was a project for that a while back, but I think it got abandoned. Did you change your raise? No. Thoughts on Windrunner's Quiver? Very, very strong single target talent. Talking of driving, will Lyra succeed at Variety Season? I think that Leclerc will beat him. That's my gut feeling. As MM, we're not going for Volley. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I was wondering, does Mortal Wound's family ability work on bosses from your main pet? Yes. Is this worth having if against the situation where enemy is regen? Yes. Volley's a failed talent if people are looking at it for M+ and saying nah. Yeah, but I mean, look at double tap. That's like the coolest Mythic Plus burst talent ever, and it's completely worthless. So, you know. Do you think BM need any major changes other than number tuning? I mean, I don't really like how basic BM is to play, but a lot of people like it for exactly that reason, so I think I'm just in a minority there. Has it ever not been basic? Nah, it's been basic for most of its history. That doesn't mean you can't possibly wish it to change, but yes. Should I always sim 5-minute sims? Also 1 minute 30 also works for AoE. You should not generally sim 1 minute 30, no. Unless there's a very specific reason, but for general sims, no. Where does it read that you get 2 other pet passives during Call of the Wild if you have the 3 different pets back in first 3 slots? I mean, it says that Call of the Wild summons 2 of your active pets. And when you summon pets, you get their bonuses. I mean, it's something that you have to know, but like it's technically rules as written if you want to use a D&D term. Hell yeah, Red House Penis. I love that emote so much. Look, Tifas. Split running with mage again, or nah, I'm gonna run with a second hunter. And yeah, Shabby, I mean, yeah, the thing is, you just much rather have a cleft hoof for solo content. Hi, Saladius, what's up? God, that emote is just the best. Hey, there's a small difference in MM opening between Arrowhead and Icy-Veins that confuses me. Just been a precision after the first row if I'm going to, but the Arrowhead doesn't do the alpha into explosive and then aim shot. Yeah, I mean, I'm currently in the middle of the process of updating both sites, so what you're seeing may be a consequence of that. Check back after the stream. Well, I might do some of the fixing after the stream. I'll probably stop streaming in no later than an hour. Is Dwarf still the best race in Alliance? Depends on your spec, depends on how it sims for you and everything. Have you made any survival changes on your sites? No, it's been pretty steady. Hey Petscoop. What are you hoping for? What are you hoping would change the latest? Do you mind repeating the pet's order? Tenacity, Cunning, Ferocity. TCF. Usually guide changes are concerning like sub 1% stuff. For example, this whole stream I've been doing Hunter Guide, MM Hunter Guide updates, and it's all about like 1 to 2% DPS, right? So. As BM in Raid, are you just removing kill shot from your bars to avoid the temptation of the glowing button? In my Hunter UI, I have made it not show up. Yeah, for the most part. Unless you're talented into abilities that do make it viable. Isn't glowing button always hit when it glows? Well, yeah, that's how most people's psychology works, and that's kind of the problem. Not all glowing buttons ought to be hit. I had a wipe on Queen at 1% yesterday, and tonight was my last chance to get C with this guild that needed a fill. Alright. That sounds exciting. You're in the maybe, well, I guess if tonight is last raid, you're not gonna get raised to world last, but good luck. Think I need Hikili now. You don't need Hikili to play BM. It's literally like you don't need Hikili. Come on, I believe in you. You are in like the best place to learn how to play without Hikili. So the reason I'm just kind of yapping right now is because I'm using AI to like analyze the sim data. And that just takes time. Hikili is an add-on that basically tells you what to press the latest. Do you think MM or BM is going to be the go-to range hunter spec this tier? I don't think it'll be the same one for all content, so we'll see. Is the premium Raidbots updated now? I mean, Raidbots in general is updated now. It has nothing to do with premium. One sec. Can you go through how you use AI to analyze the sims? I'd like to, but there's a bunch of personal stuff in my ChatGPT, but it basically just boils down to it's basically just doing the math for me of what is the, like I sim both AoE and single target, and then I want to find a build that has the best combined performance. That performs the closest to the top build across both disciplines. And that's a form of what's called multi-objective optimization or Pareto optimization, and AI is pretty good at that. So that's basically all it is. So basically I've simmed every possible build, and then I'm like, okay, AoE is one thing, but the top AoE build is not always going to be the best overall, because what if you could sacrifice 1% AoE and gain 5% single target? Or prio damage and stuff like that. That's the gist of it. Hey Dead Adders, I'm doing quite well. A vocation to test all of our specs with a guide from your Mythic Plus 14 keys in yesterday. All of them blast, PM being the third one. Survival for me did even beat MM in performance overall DPS. Nice. I would expect MM to do quite a bit more though. Depending on the dungeon, but most dungeons it should do more if you're playing it optimally. But the thing is, there's a bit more to think about than usual. Best looking hunter race. I personally like Tauren, but that's apparently a fringe opinion, so. Do you know if you can actually max out carved crests this week? I don't think so. I mean, you can get quite far, but yeah. What would be the best spec overall damage-wise to blast and plus on the first day? Most likely MM on the first day. It's also very bursty, which is nice because, you know, first day 1 Mythic Plus, unless you've been living on the PTR, you're probably not going to be making like huge ambitious pulls. You're kind of just going to be going pull by pull learning. You're not gonna chain a lot, like it's gonna be a classic Mythic Plus experience, and MM is just really well suited to that. I think carved crest cap is bugged. No, it's because you can get a ton of a carved crest that don't count towards the cap. How did you get 164 though? Tell me your secret, Swanky. All old weekly stuff in zones and Bountiful Delves. Fair enough.
They will shake their heads and wag their bony fingers in all the wrong directions, and by daybreak will be gone.
What's the MM opener for the M Plus build? Oh, well, right now I'm trying to work. So, right now I'm trying to work out what the optimal M Plus build is, because there's been some sim changes. Right now, that's just happening in the background, though. So before I can answer the question on the best opener, well, basically, it's gonna be either this one. Or this one. This one. Or this one. This one. Or this one. How does the new Sentinel feel for others in Mythic Plus? I mean, it doesn't really... Oh, for others in that way. Yeah. Yeah, holding stuff for next pack, that's a problem, for sure. Hey, Spider-Man. Would there be any UI error if UI errors if I use your WeakAuras but without LVI? No, that would work perfectly fine. Thank you for the kind words, Gamble. Is MM back to Sentinel? Is Black Arrow still viable? Black Arrow is dead. Is PL already better in Mythic Plus for BM or not until new tier set? I don't know, because I didn't theorycraft no tier set BM all that seriously, because there's like no hard content. So I think so, but I don't actually know for sure. Does it matter what your companion pet is? No. Seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. To pay paradise, to put up a parking lot. Not Bluey, thank you so much for the prime. That is correct, drop shot. That was always the case, though. That's not a new thing. I have no questions. Just wanted to say thank you for all the work you're doing for the Hunter community. Thank you for the kind words, Doki. That you don't know what you got till it's gone. Is it looking like MM for M Plus and BM for 8 then? I haven't run any of the numbers for Season 2 yet in terms of a spec comparison. I have absolutely no idea about that, Nonny Mouse. I'm sorry. No, that is correct, Phoenix. We still run the Dire Command talent, or we still run Alpha Command, which summons Alpha Beasts, Alpha Animals. And Alpha Frenzy will buff the Alpha Animals from Alpha Command. Before we get full set, do we still only use explosive shot when lock and load proc? Yes. Well, again, like pretty much all the theory crafting that's happening is happening based on tier set. How do you determine which gems you'll use overall? Sims seem like kinda inaccurate when comparing the 4 different gems option to the non-checked option. Sims are not inaccurate about that. So I just sim it. Banchers is a person, a human being, if you will. How come we don't play Die Beast anymore as BM? It's because they took the Huntmaster's Call talent out back and shot it, and that basically killed off Die Beast. Something went wrong with the calculations of the thing and I have to redo it. I think I have to prune the data more for ChatGPT to sort it. Is there a haste cap for survival? No. I mean, haste is not even a particularly good stat for survival. On any level, so. That's a wow. Cardridgen, thank you for the prime, and NZZSG, thank you so much for the sub as well. Enjoy access to the UI and the other perks. They nerfed Huntmaster's Call talent, and that killed off Die Beast Sinesh. Again, all my theory crafting is Season 2 related Salatus. Hey Ayato. I'm quite well. I am trying to work out... I feel like Volley is a little bit dead again, guys. Is BM doing more damage than before the patch 11.1 with the fixes? Single target, I mean, opinions are basically split. The Sims suggested maybe yes, but from what I've heard, people feel like they're doing less, but they could just not be comfortable with the new playstyle. Not that it's that much different. It's just hard to know. Who cares anyway? We're getting a new season soon. That's what's gonna really matter. I don't know the meta what it is this week. Anything you aren't looking forward to this season? No, I can't think of anything. I don't think any of the specs got worse. Alright, see you around, Nina. Let me know if you have any run into any problems. Any predictions that you can make with what you know, what spec will come out on top and why is it BM? I don't know. I don't care about speculation. I don't care about uninformed speculation. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. Star Sky, think of it as up. What is there to look forward to about survival, Ayato? Or not look... I guess, what do you mean by not even survival? Do you have pet family ability macro? Yeah, I have some. I can probably post it in chat. You'd have to change the actual pet names in the macro, but yeah. You said nothing to not look forward to, not even survival. I mean, I don't really think survival is meaningfully worse, so no. Would having ES applied with Volley Salvo be detonated with TS aim shot because of a precision detonation? Yes. I thought survival tier set is bad. I mean, yeah, but so is the MM one. Is it a lot of work for you at the moment? I would assume it is with the new patch. Yes, it is a lot of work for me. I just wanted to say thank you for the Patreon coaching. Feel ready to blast next season. Rose, you know what we said about lying? Thank you for the prime. No, Money Mouse, it's because Nuance is a friend of mine who doesn't play Hunter, and I've definitely not coached about Hunter. Do you prefer survival in melee? Do you think it'll ever go back to being a ranged spec? I don't think it'll ever go back to being a ranged spec, and I don't really mind one way or the other. Absolutely true, Nuance. You should definitely check out my Patreon coaching, either way. What spec would you say is best spec for Hunter in Season 2 rating? I have no idea. I haven't run the numbers yet for Season 2. I will towards the end of the week. Snowfrog, thank you for the prime. Yeah, I used Brain to tank my Delve yesterday.
And dead we go. Between the living and the dead. Something you're dead.
Oh, my chat is so wholesome. What the hell is that Volley I see? We'll see. I'm still crunching the numbers on the sims I've run and trying to prune it a little bit more. But it's not really playing ball with me. But I have a feeling we still won't play Volley. 2-target fights seem awful in the class build right now. Definitely would make it a little better. I mean, little is right. We're talking about one extra cleaving global every 45-ish seconds. And what we would be giving up for Volley is probably Small Game Hunter, which is multi-shot damage, which would also hurt our 2-target damage. So it's just not obvious at all that Volley is a ton better on 2-target. Thank you very much for tuning in, Nutty Mouse. You've been a pleasant presence in my chat. I'll see you around. I'm a survival main. Should I go for survival? Well, there goes. You just said you're a survival main, so probably. What temperatures are going to... Holy fuck! Jesus Christ, the Kalasar. Thank you so much for gifting 10 subs. I'm scanning for Boxy's name because he was lamenting dodging it earlier, but he dodged it again. But congrats to Doctope, Mad Monkey 519, Dotamil, Team Wild 1, Meetcha Baker, Fortenberry, Bar Shorkle, Jackie Tan, Interlude QQ, Acer KSS. Congrats on the subs. You should, if you're interested in my UI at all, then you should hit up my Discord. with and maybe you want to check it out. Now you can check it out for free because the Kalasar was kind enough to gift you a sub. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the kind words. I am honored, sir. Thank you. Would your 2-target cleave be decent if it was not a choice node with AoE? Oh, I mean, yes. Yes, it would. No, most likely not. Press Jesus. People doing 12 million DPS next patch? Nah, that's MM AoE. How long does it usually take to access your Wago pack after sub? It should be pretty much immediate. Make sure you're using the Wago app to check and not the website. Follow the instructions very carefully in my Discord. And drops are on, but I forgot to write it. I'll sort that for next time. One moment. Is it me or does MM seem less mobile now? Yeah, I think it arguably is, yeah. Do you think in a situation in a plus if you have 2 other DPS of excellent AoE damage, if there's an argument to take aspect of... Nope, there isn't. I'm glad you got it working. Is there any way to make your pet smaller? Isn't there a glyph or something that reduces the size of your pets? I don't know, Setgag. The way I see it, like, needed or not, like, the thing is, we didn't really know how good it was going to be. So there's just no way to know if it was needed or not. You could only possibly know that in retrospect. Does your Beast Sleep Weak only work with the Blood Bolt still? Yes, that's just that's just a a hard rule of how it works. It can only possibly work with the Blood Bolt. You don't have to use the pets. You don't have to use a Blood Beast. You just have to put Blood Bolt on your bars, and then you can put it in your stables and never look at it again. But you need the ability on your bars, and the only way to get it is to actually get the pet. It's quite strange. What's the best hero pet for M+? It basically doesn't matter really. I mean, an Akiri, if you're BM. And Akiri is always the best pet for BM pretty much. Why do you recommend Deathblow and the other guides don't? First of all, you need to specify recommend Deathblow for what? But I mean, the reason for any recommendation I make is that because I've done the work and I believe it is objectively correct. That is the reason behind any recommendation. Like, I've, objectively looked at it and I put what I believe is the optimal solution in my guide. We got a min-max stable pets too. Not stable pets, but there's a pet that you want something from, but only for like 1 second, and then you put it back in stables. Do you happen to know by how much percent DPS is a Kiri pet? The question, like, is... It doesn't make any sense. Like, Kiri pets don't do more damage. They move more quickly. So how do you quantify the DPS value of that? Clearly it's more than 0, but there's no way you could put a number on it. It's just that the premise of the question is not true. That's all. Doesn't mean it's a bad question. Little Rob, thank you so much for the sub. Hi, sir. ITX, thanks so much for the prime. Yo bro, one Icy-Veins guy, the rotation for MM says to precast the steady shot. Because there's nothing else you can precast. Watching you go quiet on stream to answer a question in Discord is oddly funny. It's totally unprofessional, I really shouldn't do that. How to fix slow AD movement? What do you mean by that exactly? Salatis, it's literally both. It's a small circle around your target and it is a splash cone behind your target. It's both. The size of the splash cone is bigger than the size of the AoE though. My cam are just not moving fast. I think your keyboard turning, or... Sour Fangy, thank you so much for the sub. Also, Clockwork, it technically wasn't a Discord question. What do you recommend for M+ and rating at the start of the season? Just made a video about it. Like, for notes here said it looks like MM, M+, and survival rating. Oh yeah, there was the moving target question too. Yeah, you got me. You got me. I'm caught. That's correct, Salatis, and that's a huge part of it. If I recall correctly, in the last YouTube video, you mentioned BM was over-simming because of a PTR bug. It never over-simmed thanks to a PTR bug. It was doing too much damage because of a PTR bug at one point. I feel like, I mean, the Sentinel Owl, sure, it would be nice if it just moved at 1,000,000 miles per second, but it moves fast enough for like 90% of scenarios. I think I might have to do this stuff off stream because it's just taking way too long. It's bottlenecking me hard. This is the content we live for. Yeah, fair. Now I do have to update the Wowhead guide as well. Haven't played survival since you had cancelled pet attack macros in DF. No, they sorted that. It's no longer a thing. What do you think would be the best spec to play for both Raid and Mythic Plus without having to change too much in talents? Aren't you changing all your talents when you change specs, or what do you mean exactly? I mean, in any case, I don't know the answer because I haven't run the numbers for the season yet. But your question confuses me. I came back to Around the War Within, and I've always liked the Hunter gameplay. Finally BM does damage, but I'm afraid it will get nerfed into the ground. What are your thoughts on expected coming nerfs? I don't really like to speculate on unknowns. I think that the evidence that BM does crazy damage without bugs is limited. Compared to, you know, enhancement shamans. What do you think would be the best spec to play for both Raid and M+ if I'm a paraplegic and don't own a monitor? Probably BM, isn't it? Are you making the Hunter APL, or is it more of a group effort someone else? I'm only like I'm definitely not the majority contributor to the APL. I just submit ideas here and there. Yeah. So I'm not the one making it. Yeah, I haven't run the so that's a fine question, Randy. I haven't run the numbers on that yet, but that'll be a relevant. That will obviously be a relevant metric for what the Mythic Plus build will be. Are you hyped for this season? Yeah, I'm as hyped as I'll be for a season. I've seen so many seasons that, you know, it's not like the childlike super omega hype that I used to have, but, you know, bring it on. After set MM superior than BM for Mythic Plus, we'll see. Is there a big difference between BM and MM in Season 2? We'll see. Unrelated, but have you always been competitive at this game, or do you sometimes miss the days where you play this game casually and just have fun assuming it? I mean, I don't think that being competitive and just chilling with it. I mean, yesterday I spent hours just doing all the drive races in Undermine Gold, so... yeah, I could still do that. But I've been I've approached the game competitively since I started playing it. It's just my personality, I guess. I'm playing MM, I was checking the gear for the next season. On Igata it looks like Eye of Kazan is what I had, but I sim to Trinkets House of Cards looks better. Yeah, they nerfed the Eye of Kazan in the Sims. So I'll have to rerun all my Trinket Sims. I saw you put the special ring as best for BM and MM in your guide. I mean, I'll rerun the Sims by the time the season comes out, but it was looking pretty insane at the time. But a lot of these special items, they change their sim implementation and they either get more or less powerful. So that's why, I mean, that's why I'm saving all of the. That's why I keep saying we'll see. It's not because I'm trolling. It's because I genuinely don't know, and I want to see or wait and see. The last possible moment when the Sims are as good as they'll ever be, then I want to rerun all the numbers and get some conclusive answers. Any cool rewards for completing all the drive races in gold? You get a title, Breaknecker. The reason I did it is because I wanted the fast engine for doing them all on bronze, but then I just went for the gold anyway. I don't think so as a Wraith. I think every spec lost the damage in that I have Kazan fixing.
So we
It only takes like an hour or two, Randy. But I didn't know that you meant that ring. I thought you meant the Jester Diamond ring. I mean, that one The Xerxes Circlet I would expect to get nerfed because it's biz for a lot of specs. And I don't think Blizzard intended that, so they'll probably like panic in a week or two and nerf the shit out of it. But you know, until that happens, I will have it as based in the guide, and if they change it, I will update the guide. This is how it be. Yeah, I saw Noggy. I don't have the brain power left over to look at it right now, but I will after. Okay, fine, I'll look at it. I mean, if you just put it in the... I mean, yeah. That is better. Scroll down for week... Yeah, that's better. Way better. Thumbs up from me. It's spelled Akiri, A-Q-I-R-I. I just posted in the chat. I mean, they start out as cunning, but that's the whole thing of this patch, is that you can change the pet specs now, so... I found myself starving for focus a lot during my TSA window. Should I just start? Well, you just steady shot if you run out of focus. You cannot spend fewer precise shot stacks. I mean, not really, because you need them to generate... Like, precise shot stacks are like the vehicle of everything. They're what give you Spotter's Mark procs, they're what give you the moving target procs, they're everything. But yeah, I think that's it for this stream, because I still have some work to do, but I'll have to do it off stream. But I'll probably be back tomorrow afternoon or morning-ish, and maybe do some more if I don't finish everything today. But within like later tonight, expect an update to the Icy-Veins Hunter guide, particularly the MM one with the new Mythic Plus build and rotational stuff. And that'll also be the case for Wowhead. So still no final decision on Volley. Like, I have to recrunch all the numbers because my tool here is trolling the crap out of me. So, but I would guess no Volley, because it's neither the best pure AoE and it's not the best single target. And if there's a talent that is not the best in any category, given how different the goals are for single target versus AoE, the chances are it's not going to make it into an M+ build. So, yeah. Until next time, I wish you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. If you like the stream, be sure to follow. If you really like it, maybe be a sub here on Twitch or on Patreon, where you can get access to my Hunter UI, and which I'm also going to update hopefully later today with the new MM min-maxes. And yeah, I'll be back again tomorrow, most likely. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you boys and girls next time. Bye-bye.